Hey guys, welcome back to the Fal Anglers. Because it's the end of the year, we just thought we would do a sort of year recap, and then we thought since this channel isn't even a year old yet, we'll do a recap of the whole of the Fal Anglers, so from when our Instagram page started. We'll go through the best catches so you guys can get to understand our fishing a bit more, the ones we haven't been out and filmed quite yet. So we'll get straight into it. So we'll kick things straight off with my PB shore-caught pollock. This was 83 centimetres and 35 centimetres in girth. It was very, very thin for its size. It was only £9.1. You'd expect a fish like that to weigh 12 to 14 pounds, but it is what it is. That one was caught in the Isles of Scilly in 2023 in July. We did a 2-week camping trip and it was brilliant fun. And we didn't even have a drop net at this point, so it was a 5-metre drop to where the pollock was. It took off like an absolute rocket towards the snags that I'd lost a few on before. Managed to winch it out, and yeah, we had a 5-metre haul of just holding the braid. Me and Ollie both grabbed the braid, and we thought it was snagged, and it was just the fish. And we were hauling it up, and we had like braid cuts all over our hands. It was crazy, but we managed to land it, and this thing was absolutely huge. We'll put the photos on screen, obviously, but it was unreal. I don't think I ever beat it from the shore. It's an unreal fish. I've not even had one that big from any boat, so that's pretty good going.
And next up is this absolute beauty. This was 75 centimetres. It was caught on the last scraps of bait that we had from a bait session, literally on a piece of mackerel tail. It weighed in £9 and I think it was £9 1 ounces. So absolutely lovely condition for its size, as it should be. So this was during a huss session that we were doing in mid-May. We had mackerel baits from Gwyneir and we were just running out. We were just about to pack up. I think I had literally taken one of my rods off the rod holder already, and my other rod that was out had a bell on it at the time, and me and Harry are both messing around with my rod that's out, and we just hear this bell going absolutely nuts. We spin round, both of us got head torches on, and we can just see my rod hanging on for dear life off of the tripod. So we both sprint over. I managed to grab it just in time. Harry literally knee slides underneath the tripod just in case. We're bringing this fish in. We think this is quite a big bull huss. It's giving big head shakes and it's putting up a scrap. So we're like, oh, this is going to be a nice fish. So Harry's getting ready down by the water in his wellies, and we see this absolute huge bass rock up to shore. And we both start freaking out, and when we do, the hook actually snaps from the line. So this bass is in the water, probably 4 foot away from us, with a hook in its mouth, with me no longer attached to it. So Harry literally dives on top of it, manages to wrestle it in up onto the shore, and this is what we have to show for it. So it's an absolutely lovely fish, but yeah, what a reward, especially since we weren't targeting them. So talking about big fish, this is a 350-pound bluefin tuna caught just off from Falmouth offshore. We went out on a charter boat and it was absolutely amazing. We had, I think it was 8 fish in total, 6 landed. It was an absolutely awesome day. It was pretty calm out on the waters considering how far out we were. We had real screaming rods bent. It was brilliant fun, especially after seeing so many from the shore jump in. It was absolutely brilliant to get out and be able to have the chance to catch one. Unfortunately, this was a solo mission as Harry was at work and he was absolutely gutted and wouldn't shut up for it for a couple of days afterwards. So all the fish we caught, we were using spreader bars and 300-pound mono, so it was a different game. It was a different style of fishing to anything that we'd been used to. So like I say, we've seen absolutely loads of tuna from the shore. I think there's been 3 or 4 different sessions down on the Lizard that we have seen tuna, probably, I mean, the distance that I am away from the camera now, so not much. They've been absolutely going nuts. We managed to get an awesome video out the other day of them. Unfortunately, one of them actually managed to steal Harry's pollock mid-water, but hey-ho. It was still, they put on an awesome display and it was absolutely brilliant. Massive fish jumping up to about 1,000 pounds, we reckon. But yeah, it's great to see all the tuna back in shore and back in numbers. Hopefully they don't get too bad because we don't want it to affect the bass fishing or any other fishing. But so far, I reckon there's a good balance and it's been an absolutely brilliant year for them.
And there we go. So up next, we've got both our PB Wrasses. We both had PB Wrasses this year. Both been £6 and they've both been 51 centimetres, caught in completely different locations. I had mine down on the Lizard. I was fishing Lazylures Bomb Squad, literally dropping at my feet, and it just smoked me, literally smoked it, and then I struck and it just came up nice and easy. It was just like reeling in a big wet cloth, to be fair. Didn't do much fighting. I was with Reese, so I was like, Reese, quick, come and grab it. He grabbed it, and we measured it. Yeah, 51 centimetres, 6 pounds. Really nice coloured one. I think that was back in summer at some point, but yeah, really good fun.
And my wrasse was a bit more fun. We were in the Isles of Scilly. We had just walked about 20 minutes to get to this mark and cycled about 10. And we get there, and I'm about second cast in. I managed to snag my lure. So I'm pulling my rod back like that. Admittedly, I've got my hand on the reel handle, and I'm pulling it back, and I actually managed to snap off my reel handle. So we only had one rod each, as me, Harry and Roscoe, lure fishing Scilly. Yeah, so I break off my handle completely. So I'm just like, brilliant, that's the session over for me. But I didn't give up. I put on a little green lure about that big and dropping it down by my feet, and I managed to pick up a 5 pound wrasse. So I'm like, there we go, that was good fun. I know what I'm doing for the rest of the session. So I moved slightly further around. I think Harry and Roscoe had just finished fishing, so they were sat up top of this rock watching me. And I'm drop shotting now, so I tied on a little drop shot straight down in front of me, and I bring up a good like 2 pound wrasse, but I see his friend follow him up, who looked about 7-8 pound in the water, and he was bright green. And I said to them, there's a wrasse down there, I'm going to catch it. And I dropped straight back down, and I hand line up this absolute beauty of a wrasse, this absolutely stunning colours, really, really nice condition fish. But yeah, managed to somehow land my PB fish with no reel handle.
So next up, as well as it being a fish in particular, it was a whole week of just crazy fishing. I was bored one evening, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go fishing. It's really nice conditions. Drove a little bit to the mark that I had in mind. It was a completely new mark to me, and I can hear bass slurping mullet off the surface. It was that distinct bass like pop on the surface. It was pitch black by this point, so I sort of sneak up to the mark, and there's a nice bit of tide running in front of me. I'm casting up tide with it was an Ima Komomo, and just twitching it back towards me to imitate a mullet that was like injured and just under the surface. And I think it was first cast I had a fish straight away, and I was like, oh, this is good. So I think it was 55, so it's pretty decent bass. That carried on. I had another two. I think in that session I had a 51, 52 and a 55. It was along those lines. And then I hooked into my PB, which is 63 centimeters. That took off like an absolute rocket. And then the next evening, I brought Ollie down here. I was like, we've got to go down to that mark. It's just incredible fishing. And then we had some more fish up to 60 centimeters. So I had a 60 centimeter that evening. That was great fun. I also hooked one in the tail that evening, and I thought it was a 70 plus. And then straight onto a different mark in that same week, I went fishing with my mate Tony, and he took me to one of his marks, and we were into a few bass straight away. We had loads of little ones and up to about 50, 55. And then I hooked into another 63. So my PB stands at 63, but I've now had two fish out of that. So I'd love to break the 65 or even the 70 barrier in 2025 on the lures, but we'll see how it goes. And next up is the Cornwall Lure Festival, which was back in September. And this was, oh my God. This was a brilliant weekend for us, to be fair. We chanced upon a new mark, and we were down the Lizard, and we thought, oh, we'll try this new mark, completely new to us. So we go down there and we see seagulls working everywhere, and there's a guy down there already catching a few little ones. There's more seagulls working over a bit to the side of where he was. So we went down there instead to stay out his way, and straight away I chucked out a topwater over a really shallow reef, and I was on. And that day continued. I think it was pretty much impossible to not catch a fish. I think you could have thrown a stick out there and a bass would have hit it, to be honest with you. There must have been thousands of them out there. Unfortunately, no big ones, and that's how the competition is measured, on the biggest fish. But we had, I think it was between 42 and 54 or 55-ish, and we must have had over 100 fish.
We tried loads of different lures. Just because of the absolute abundance of bass, we needed to filter through them and try and get to the bigger ones. So I was casting sand eel lures, probably about that big, massive boat lures, just absolutely welling them out, but we were still catching 40s, 45s, whatever you could on them. We was trying to fish through the numbers. It was an absolutely awesome session. It's probably the best bass fishing we've ever had.
100%.
And it's awesome that it fell on that weekend as well, but it is such a shame that we couldn't manage to bring up any big ones. We had a good stamp of fish. I think we ended on about 210-ish centimetres total, so that's top 4 fish. So we did really well.
It was our first year entering this competition, and we knew it was going to be really hard. There are some absolutely incredible anglers in Cornwall that are just insane. I mean, they seem to catch 70s like it's absolutely nothing. But it was really good atmosphere. The presentation was really good fun as well. And then the really good week I had of 2 63s and a 60 conveniently fell just after the competition on that next week. But we definitely know where we'll be going for 2025. And the Sunday morning, so that it ended on the Sunday, it was Friday through till Sunday, we headed back down to the same mark. It was really windy this time. And we were just chucking little plugs into the surf. And I hooked a bass. And it started absolutely stripping me of line. It was like nothing I'd ever felt before. I managed to get it all the way in front of my feet, and it was just digging. I could not roll this thing up. Everyone was looking, so I was like, oh, I've got a massive one, massive bass. And then it starts stripping my line. It shoots all the way out, and I think this is ridiculous. And then it pops up, and there's a seal with a bass in its mouth and my lure. And I was at that point, I just wanted the lure back. It's a very expensive lure. It's about £25, custom made. So I was striking like that, and eventually the hook bent out. It was a very unlucky bass because it was a decent size one as well, but I thought I'd caught a 70 plus, so it was a bit gutting, but that's fishing.
So this next fish was pretty cool. We were down Falmouth of an evening, and we managed to rustle up together some hand line equipment. So we had a roll of, I think, 80-pound mono and probably a well under equipped J hook. We had a mackerel head from a session previously. So we stuck that on the hook, dropped it down a ledge. It wasn't very far down, it was probably maybe 10 foot down. And we were there, we were fishing for a while, leaving the bait out. Harry had his head torch beaming down. Nothing came of it, unfortunately. So we were packing up, and just as I was packing up, Ollie Angling, we'll put his Instagram on screen now, he saw the Conger swim across and down back into his hole. So he shouts down to me, so I run back down with the hand line, drop it straight back down, and we're all four of us are sat on the edge waiting for this fish, just looking for it. And he comes out and he managed to strike into it. We're hand lining him up the wall like this, fighting him back. But yeah, we had this absolutely lovely conger. It's probably about a £10 conger, which is really cool, especially considering it is literally just in the middle of Falmouth. That was actually a new species for me as well, so not a bad first one. Hopefully more to come in next year's as well. We're going to do a bit more bait fishing. So looking forward to that, but yeah, that was a really cool catch.
So next up, we've got a really cool catch. I was down the Lizard with Reese one morning, and it was perfect conditions. The sun was just cracking the horizon, a bit of chop on the water, so what you'd expect to be really good conditions for topwater bass. We discovered this mark about a week before to be really good for this sort of fishing. We were wellying pachinkos out there, and I think Reese hooked up to a nice bass and then lost it, and then I saw a fish jump out the water, hit my pachinko. It cleared the water by probably about 3 foot, probably about that much. It was just insane to watch. It was so dark I couldn't actually tell what it was. I thought it was just a really, really aggressive bass, and it was proper peeling me and pulling drag, so that was just really cool. I bring it in and I see a flash of gold, and I'm sort of thinking, hang on a minute, that looks a bit like a pollock. And yeah, bring it in, and it was probably a 3 to 4 pound pollock on a pachinko 125, which is just incredible. I've had them hit surface lures before, but never that sort of size. I don't reckon I ever will again, because it was just incredible. But I don't think I even landed a bass that session, but it was an incredible session otherwise, and something you don't really see all that often. And this mark isn't shallow at all. It is quite deep where I was, so that fish must have been feeding in the top of the water column, which is really interesting for such a large fish. And next up, moving a little bit away from the fish now, I went diving for lobsters with my mate Harry, and we were already over the moon because we'd been diving, and we dug a lobster out of its hole, and it was a really good size one. Not massive, but not tiny. It was like a perfect eating size. And then I called him over because I'd been diving, and I'd looked in a hole with the torch, and I saw about 4 leopard spot gobies and a ton of massive prawns. It was really, really cool to see, because obviously you don't see leopard spots that often. And then as he's swimming along, coming down to this hole that I'd found, outside the hole, I can't remember the exact weight, it was between 7 and 8 pounds, but we found an absolute giant lobster. And it was just, I've never seen one that big. And it was just unreal. We had people looking at it afterwards, and they were just like, they just thought it was absolutely incredible. But yeah, never seen one that big, and I don't think hopefully we'll see one that big again, but I don't know if I ever will. But yeah, just incredible, especially to find one like that walking in the open. It was just complete on open ground, just walking along mid-daylight, completely mid-daylight. So that was just really, really cool to see. Next up, we have quite a special one because it's quite a rare catch. We're out on the boat, not too far away from here without giving away the exact location. We were actually fishing for bass with Savage Seekers, and I just cast mine out and I hook up to something and it starts absolutely going mental, jumping out the water, shaking like that. I thought I'd hooked up to quite a aggressive mackerel. Bring it in, get it netted, and it turns out it was a sea trout. It was about 1.5 to 2 pounds. Absolutely stunning fish. I don't think I really truly appreciated how special that catch was until now, really. I've not caught one since, and in the area I caught one, from speaking to other people, it seems quite a rarity. So that was really, really cool. And then similar to that sort of instance, but different fish, I was in a school of mackerel fishing with a 3-gram metal, and I'd already caught a few mackerel for bait, and I'm bringing it through the mackerel, getting tap, tap, tap. It was only a single hook, so I was missing some hits. And then suddenly I hook up to something and it started peeling my drag. I was only on I think a 10-gram LRF rod at the time. That rod is now at the bottom of the sea somewhere because a bass took that overboard, unfortunately. But this is before that happened, so it started peeling my drag and jumping out the water again. And I thought I'd again hooked up to a really aggressive mackerel. Managed to get it in the net, and it turns out it was a Twaite shad. So that was just incredible. I put it straight in a bucket full of water because at that point I knew it was a shad, but I didn't know exactly what it was. Put it in a bucket of water, did a quick little steam over so I had signal, messaged a few people, figured out what it was, let it recover in the water, got a couple of photos, and then got a safe release. So that was just incredible because they're not seen that often down here either. So to tick that off the species list, not that I was targeting it at all, because I wouldn't even want to catch one, I didn't even know what it was, but really incredible to see and really happy that I've got that species under my belt.
So next up is our second ever YouTube video that we actually posted on our channel, and that is the topwater bass. So we were out fishing similar sort of ground to this, very shallow, very sort of slaty, and we put the drone up just above us in casting distance, and we're both casting out, and on the retrieve that Harry did, he managed to get a bass on video, hit the top water, and then also video the whole fight of it going in and jumping and splashing and all sorts. So that was really cool. Hopefully that is going to become something that is a bit more prominent on the channel. We're going to start bringing the drone next summer when it's not miserly conditions like this where we can't fly it. So next summer we're going to bring the drone with us a lot more, and hopefully we'll have even better equipment. So we're going to try and get hopefully a bigger bass on top water again next year and sort of redo that first video. That would be cool to show how far we've come in terms of the YouTube and the editing and all that as well, really.
So there we go, that's our sort of best catches of the Fal Anglers so far. Next year we'll do a 2025 version if we've got any fish to include, which hopefully we will. But yeah, hopefully that lets you guys who don't follow our Instagram or other socials sort of understand what we get up to when we're not filming. Hopefully we'll film a lot more good fish next year because we'll be doing a lot more videos, obviously. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this one, remember to drop a like so YouTube knows what to recommend you. Remember to watch this video here and subscribe on my face. And yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.